So, in this issue, I would like to talk about the issue of putting people on trial, specifically Osama bin Laden and other terrorist suspects. I've heard a lot of people, especially older people, talking about, oh, in the past we always put suspects, even enemy suspects, the worst of the worst, on trial. Michael Moore and others have noted that, oh, even the top Nazis in Nuremberg, we put them on trial. That's true. We put the Nazis who surrendered to us on trial. We certainly didn't tell our Marines and Army personnel or anyone else to capture Nazi suspects alive at all costs. If someone was not wearing a uniform, they were shot basically on the spot. And so it's true that we put the worst of the worst on trial, but that's only if they surrendered, not if they were hiding or if they were fighting or if they were in civilian clothes or any other clothing that was not a military uniform. And so I just want to make that clear. It's not like we've changed our um, operating procedure or whatever in reference to foreign terrorists or enemy combatants or anything like that. If someone's fighting, then we either kill them or capture them if possible, but certainly don't capture them, capture them alive at all costs, telling soldiers or Marines or Special Forces, SEALs, anyone else to risk their life to capture someone alive at all costs. But I guess the main issue I wanted to talk about in this issue is the issue of Pakistan, that they would allow Osama bin Laden to build an at least $1 million compound right next to a military academy is outrageous. As one Republican congressperson said, it was either gross incompetence on the part of the Pakistani military, or it was intentionally knowing that they're working with at least a top enemy suspect, probably bin Laden. And so it's either gross incompetence or is a deliberate act. And Pakistan is not that incompetent. As one ex-CIA officer said, it's Pakistan's essentially a police state, and the fact that someone would be able to build $1 million compound next to a military academy, that just doesn't happen. So Pakistan, I think, needs to figure out what side of this conflict they want to be on. They need to know that Americans aren't that dumb. They can't play us for such fools that we're going to be giving you millions of dollars if you're going to be trying to play both sides for fools and essentially helping both sides. Pakistan does gives the U.S. some help with. They've done actually a fair amount fighting various terrorist suspects in the tribal regions and other places, but they also like working with Al-Qaeda and some other terrorist organizations because they feel that it's going to be useful in fighting India. I think that's extremely short-sighted. I think Pakistan, the Pakistani people, have the most to lose by these terrorist organizations. Al-Qaeda and others hurt the Pakistani people more than they hurt India or anybody else. And I guess with that, it brings up the issues of predator drones. I could understand why Pakistani people are not happy about predator drones. I certainly wouldn't want predator drones flying over my house, especially if I knew they could blow me up at any time. But I think that in the long run, even with the predator drone strikes, the predator drone strikes are actually saving a lot more innocent Pakistani lives than they are killing them, because they are primarily killing evil terrorists suspects who would, if they were not killed or captured, go on to kill Pakistanis. So I believe the Predator drones are actually saving more Pakistani lives than they are killing them. And what else? And then I guess last but certainly not least, of course, Pakistan is a nuclear power. And the idea of nuclear weapons falling in the hands of any terrorist organization is just something I don't even want to consider. Even with the Russians, as crazy as they were, and frankly, some of the U.S. was pretty damn crazy too. Different people like LeMay and stuff talking about how they're gonna hit them with everything they got. And all the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I believe, recommended that we hit Cuba with everything we had as soon as we found out that they had nuclear missiles in during the Cuban Missile Crisis. But one thing that separates both the U.S. and Russia from Islamic fundamentalists who might get the nuclear weapon is the United States and Russia generally believed that if there was a nuclear war, everyone would die permanently, and that'd essentially be the end of the world. Whereas a lot of fundamentalists, I guess, would think that it might be God's will, or that the people who die are going to go to heaven or hell, and it's all going to be up to Allah or whatever. And that is it's not a way that you want people to look at the world if they have the ability to kill anyone, especially the potential of killing millions. So I would say to the Pakistanis that they should support the U.S. efforts in cracking down on the militants. Pakistani people have a lot more to lose than Americans. A Pakistani nuclear weapon could explode in Islamabad much more easily than it could explode in a U.S. city. So I think it's something the Pakistani government, Pakistani people have some soul searching to do. What side of the conflict they're going to want to be on in this. Although it's not always an easy decision. Like I say, I sympathize with not wanting Predator drones flying above your house. But in the long term, I think you have more to lose with the fundamentalists trying to take charge than you do with the U.S. trying to fight the fundamentalists. So I'd be interested in what you have to say, especially if you are from Pakistan. And that's it. Good day.